Good afternoon. I'm preparing this YouTube clip for us to use in lieu of our being able to meet as a class on Monday night, February 11, due to my rehabilitation from some knee surgery. I apologize for not being able to make class, but we talked about that, and I'm sure you understand, and I appreciate that. One of the assignments that I would like for you to do this week, and I think you will find it a very, very enjoyable one, is to look at a PowerPoint that I have prepared based on an amazing book, which I want to try to show you on camera. About 5 years ago, James Owen wrote an amazing little volume called Cowboy Ethics. He himself is a high-profile financier on Wall Street. And after watching the many ethical failures that we have seen on Wall Street the last few years, and after about 35 years of personal experience himself, he got to wondering, where in the world can we find a code that might give us some redirection, some stability in this high world of finance where there has been so much scandal, and which has just rocked our country and eroded trust in financial institutions. You need only to look at that list by Reputation Institute that we looked at earlier in the course to realize that banks, savings and loans associations, federal agencies like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are at the absolute bottom of the level of trust that Americans place in those institutions. Only lower would be lawyers and used car salesmen as we looked, unless now you can add Congress as the bottom of that list. James Owen has produced a volume that is amazing. The photography itself will just take your breath away. What he found inspiration to do in this book was looking at the movie Open Range, and I am sure probably some of you have seen this movie. It featured Robert Duvall, Kevin Costner, and Annette Bening. And this was the inspiration for James Owen writing the book Cowboy Ethics. He also got a lot of inspiration from the epic 6-hour movie that was done a few years ago, and you now see it aired on television quite a bit, Lonesome Dove, which featured Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee Jones. Great movies if you have not seen them. As you read through the book, Cowboy Ethics, you discover that James Owen is sharing 10 principles that he derived from studying the cowboy of the Old West in American history. A set of code and principles that maybe were never written down as law, but which were carried in the heart of every cowboy who worked on the open range in America. He drew 10 principles that you will see developed one by one in the PowerPoint that I have prepared for you. I've also taken the liberty of embellishing the PowerPoint from James Owen's book by also adding some of my favorite Western art. I happen to be an aficionado of Western art and love the work of Russell and Remington, and you'll see several of their most famous popular paintings that are part of this PowerPoint, which in the process of doing, I'm sure I have violated some kind of federal law, but I am depending on the Fair Use Act, one-time use. Now, when you have finished the PowerPoint, you will see that there are 10 principles that the cowboy of the Old West followed, which James Owen suggests have direct application to bringing about needed reform, ethical reform in Wall Street. The book is entitled What Wall Street Can Learn from the Code of the West. I want you to look at those 10 principles. Think about what you know about the lack of trust in America right now toward these institutions on Wall Street. And I want you to pick one or two of those 10 principles that you think, in your opinion, have most application to our present situation. Pick one or maybe two, not all of them, but just the one that strikes you as probably the best advice Wall Street could be given this afternoon. And then I want you to write a brief paragraph outlining your reasoning for why you think those principles, from all of the 10, why those one or two would be your recommendation as the best possible.